about the energy. If you guys want to drop your big three in astrology and human design below, we can get started, and I'd be happy to chat if anyone needs a little bit of help about the new moon in Scorpio. If you want to do a 10-minute reading with me, hi Carol, hi Joe Sue, welcome. Thank you for the follow. You can book a session with me, 10 minutes. Link is in my bio again. $8. I send you a URL with the recording link so you can watch it again and again. But I always say that I'm here to talk with you guys, not at you guys. Hi Katie, hi Carol, hello. So if you guys have any questions, thoughts, musings, curiosities, need to air and share, to just feel like, this little corner of the internet has got you, please feel free to do so, and we can keep chatting. Hello, beautiful. But yeah, it's been pretty intense for a lot of people. I actually had somebody, a projector, that was sick. Hi Katie, well, both my Katies in the crew. A projector who I just read for that was sick, and it was just like even just talking about the one aspect of her chart and being a caves person, and how having in human design, there's one of 6 environments that we can be. I, as well as she, are a caves environment in human design, and as a projector, and especially now, we're all operating on such few hours of energy, no matter our energy type. This has been something that's universally true. Thank you for the follow across the board for a lot of people. And so I said, well, why, when you go to work, when you go in next, if you go in tomorrow, ask to see if you could switch your desk so that your back isn't facing the main entrance to the building, or wherever you are, because as a caves person in human design, I always say that we like to sit in the Tony Soprano seat, where we like our back to face the wall, or I'm always the booth girl, and I'd rather have my friend, if they're also a caves person, sit next to me and we'll chat side by side, and then that way we can kind of see what's happening, so we're not wasting a bunch of energy kind of looking over our shoulder. And it was funny because I actually went out to dinner with a childhood friend of mine last night, who's a beautiful Cancer sun, Leo moon. And I'm a caves person. I don't remember what his, he's not a caves person. I don't remember what his environment is. I want to say it's markets, but long story short, the hostess gave us a choice between one side of the restaurant that was kind of crammed with a lot of people, or another cozy corner that I could see the door right in front of me. And I was like, yeah, we'll take the cozy corner, and I'll sit in the corner of the restaurant to be able to just see everybody around me and feel like I have a lay of the land. So just even those kinds of things, when we really use our human design chart and our body graph in a practical way, can really help us to be able to just ground in a way that we maybe wouldn't have expected. And being able to advocate for yourself and your boundaries in that way is also really important, especially as we're going through Mercury retrograde, and now, finally we'll be moving into Sagittarius season. Hi Marie, hi Pastel Moon, welcome. And so, yeah, it's just been a lot. Hello, beautiful, how are you? It's been a lot of that, how do we find stability? Hi, Morgan, welcome. How do we find stability? How do we find grounding? What is it that we actually need that we've been afraid to ask for? Thank you for the heart, me. That we have been afraid to ask for, and how can we kind of get it back? And what happens now, because of where we're at with this energy, is when we haven't gone into a relationship comfortably, or there was something at the beginning. Hi, me game. Happy new moon in Scorpio. There was something at the beginning when we joined the relationship or signed up for the job that was uncomfortable. We can't have a conversation and expect it to be all sunshines and roses, although it can be better than we expected during Mercury retrograde, where we kind of have to go to the deep depths of unmucking whatever it is. It's kind of we have to be willing to admit what we contributed that wasn't that great, whether we push past our boundaries in a relationship, and it may get a little bit messy before it gets better. But it's thinking about all the times that you may have quit a job that really was not that great for you, and even though you were uncomfortable to tell your boss that you were leaving, the freedom that came after you left, when you finally left the building and you didn't have to go back, this Scorpio new moon is holding that kind of frequency and that kind of feeling. Now, what I'll also say is that this isn't to say to rush, and hi Liliana, welcome, to rush and quit your job right away, but we have to be really serious about coming up with a plan of attack and a strategy to be able to do what we need to do to be efficient in leaving the job that feels like it's not serving us. But I had somebody, when I was at an event I was asked to speak at it'll be 3 weeks ago already, which is crazy, this weekend. And there was a woman that came up to me, and I could just tell she was like gripped so tightly, and I grabbed her hand, and we hadn't even officially spoken yet, and I was like, how can I help you today? Like, how are you? Like, and tell me the truth. Like, it's okay. Like, this isn't like a paid reading situation. Like, just tell me how you are. And she was like, don't like be upset, but I'm a pharmacist. And she was so incredibly sweet. And I was like, whatever you have to do to keep a roof over your head so that hi Victor, thank you, so that you can figure out what it is that you have to do. Yeah, Megan, exactly. I got to do what I got to do is exactly where people are at. And to not make apologies for like figuring it out. And I think a big consistent theme is like you did the best that you could with what you had in front of you and the knowledge that you had, and that you've gotten more data to respond to, especially my generators and manifesting generators. You now have more data to respond to, and now you can move forward. So, you know, just being able to allow yourself the grace of being human. I think a lot of us in the spiritual space forget that we're also allowed to just be human beings having a human experience, and we don't have to be like setting ourselves up for sadness or failure. Hi, Walla, how are you? To setting ourselves up for failure and feeling like we should have known better, or we should have done better, we should have done different, when it just, we did the best we could for what we have in front of us. Thank you so much for the gifts. I hope this Scorpio new moon has been treating you well. I know it's in a pretty impactful area of your chart, for your beautiful 4th house. But hi, Susie, how are you, gorgeous? Nice to see you. Hi, Sahara, how are you? It makes, oh my God, this is so sweet. A lot of my folks that I haven't seen in a while coming back for the new moon in Scorpio is very new moon in Scorpio, which I love. It was so funny because I was, a big thing that I talk about, especially because I have on my Tube of You, my YT channel, if you guys are interested in following me over there and you want to get more of the information for the week ahead, rather than just the day of, every Sunday or Sunday, more consistently, I'll post the energy hello for the week ahead, so you know what's happening every single day instead of having to wait the night before to be able to move forward. Yes, enjoy, sleep well. I know we're in different corners of the world. Thank you. I'm trying to uncover the comment, which is so funny. Yay, Sony, I see you here. Okay, yes, sending you love. But yeah, it's been intense. It's been intense for a lot of people. What was I saying? I let myself, my brain went in 4 different directions because I saw Sony's reading coming through, for 8 p.m. So we have a little bit of time. Yeah, I lost it. That's okay. It'll come back if it needs to. But yeah, a lot of transformative experiences. Let me bring up Sony's chart regardless so that we're ready to go. And then if anyone, I'll probably be on for another 50 minutes or so, until about 8:30 my time. It's 7:40 now if anyone does want to get a reading for the new moon in Scorpio. I do use a little bit of intuitive senses and psychic gifts as well. So for the last, especially because of this, where this new moon hits my Scorpio placements as a Scorpio moon, a lot of ancestors have been coming through. If that's also something that you guys are interested in touching on, let me know that as well. And I'll bring up somebody's chart. This new moon in Scorpio is definitely intense. Oh my gosh, yes. In your 8th house especially. Yes. So Scorpio moon. Hi, Crystal. How are you? Scorpio moon, Scorpio Jupiter, Pluto. So all the intensity. And it kind of like I just know things without really wanting to even know them. And I take that very seriously because a lot of people don't, like, they're like, oh, I can feel it. Like when I was at that event this weekend that I was mentioning, or another event actually, I was doing pop-up readings, and I had a woman that came in, and she was like, I could tell she just like wasn't about it. Hi, Chelsea. Yes, absolutely. My husband's a Pisces moon. I know, I love a good Pisces moon, and I'm a Pisces sun, so we have sun moon synastry. So yeah, we love that. Hello, gorgeous. But what was I gonna say? Oh, and she was like, I could just tell she was like pretty closed off. And which is fine. Like, I understand, like, different people, like, especially when I'm in, like, basically the event was called Hats Off to Downtown, so it was a shopping event for all different boutiques and stores that were in the area. So, you know, my job isn't to convince anyone to believe what I'm doing, but it's funny because even in just acknowledging that she didn't want a reading from me, I was like, oh yeah, because, like, you just don't fuck with that. And she was like, I don't fuck with that. And it was funny because then it changed the conversation into where she basically ended up, I didn't do a reading for her, but we got into a conversation because somebody else ended up booking about, like, how she is so spiritually intuitive, and it's more so like the fear of going there than, like, and just knowing, like, especially because she was a woman of color too, that in her epigenetic and ancestral history there was a lot of like, when you have somebody's birth date and time and using, like, different kinds of magic and things like that, that just had kind of gotten the energies a little funky. So I was like, yeah, say less. Give me 5 seconds, and I knew that from you walking in the door in the best way. But it's like, if I can feel in someone's energy that they don't want to go there or talk about something, especially on a live, like, I keep that shit is between you, me, and the other side, you know, and I just know when it's appropriate to say certain things and when it's not, which I think is, like, having that integrity. I think that there's a lot of people on TikTok as well that like to say things for the internet in general, not even in a spiritual discipline, for shock value and, like, calling people out because it gives them a sense of dominance. And I'm like, we don't need that to be able to step into our power in that way too. So yeah, exactly. I know. And I was like, I get it. My husband's Cuban, so, like, I've had a lot of those conversations with, like, his side of the family too. Yeah, just the next experience, healing myself. And look at my phone, you were on. Oh yay, yeah, Pisces or Scorpio rising, Pisces moon. I know. Yes. Oh my God. Absolutely, especially because we have Saturn in Pisces. In human design, specifically in gate 36, which is the gate of crises. So basically for all of us, it's like getting really disciplined on what is a true crisis and what is, like, Russ, I just saved right before I hopped on, I saw it as I opened the app to sign on. Venezuelan, there you go. Yes, I love that. A funny note, one of my aunts that immigrated, so my uncle is my blood relative, but he married an Italian woman, as most good Irish folks do. Gaelic and garlic, it's a saying. And so they actually moved to Venezuela, and my Aunt Phyllis, my Aunt Mia's older sister, was born in Venezuela. So she also, even though they're Italian and now Italian American, she speaks Spanish because they were born in Venezuela. So there's a lot of, the way my chart is set up too, like, in an Aquarius rising, like, a lot of meeting other people from different cultures and having cultural overlap. So I've always been very, like, into the spiritual, like, the lens of spirituality from, like, the cultural layers that come to it too. So it's so cool, right? I know. So it's, like, so funny because my husband, they literally won the government lottery to get their papers to come to the US back in the 90s when that was still a thing from Cuba. And they were like, here, you guys are allowed to go, but you have to figure out how to pay for it. And then they moved, you know, did the whole Miami thing and moved up to New Jersey, which is where we're both from. Right outside, there's West New York is a town in New Jersey, to make it nice and confusing, but they moved right outside of New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan, a month before 9/11. So, like, just, like, the lineage of, like, trauma and intensity and, like, emotions that come with that, like, there's, yeah, it's our children have very interesting backgrounds, that's for sure. So looking at that too is always so interesting to kind of see, like, just the intensity of life. Marie, I see you booked for 3 minutes, so I'll bring your chart up first. The intensity of life experience, like, oh my gosh, that it's so interesting, especially, like, for so many folks in this country, immigrants in this country, and then add everything that's happening on top of it now, is, like, its own interesting cluster of energies, especially where, you know, the closer we are to, like, coastal cities or major cities in the world. A lot of intensity, but, you know, I do have a lot of faith that, like, when you get out and start talking to people, there are more people that do believe in the good in the world than we would think just by what we see online. So I think in the most gracious of way, telling us all, myself included, to remember to go outside and touch grass and hug a person and hold a person's hand in real life is also important right now too. Especially for those of us that live in the US, I can do so in a way that makes sense for us. So intense but real. Yay, Marie. And I'm so excited because I have beautiful Marie and Sony, who will be my 2 reflectors in a row. So it's so funny because reflectors, for those of you who don't know, only make up 1% of the population. And so for me as an Aquarius rising, I tend to get a lot of folks that are like my biggest groups of people that I have as clients are actually the ones that are the more rare energy types. So I do get generators and I do get manifesting generators, but I get a lot of reflectors, projectors, and manifestors who are 1%, 9 to 10%, and then 20% of the population. So it's a good Aquarius rising tapping into the underdog or the less represented people is definitely a red thread through my life in a lot of different ways, in every career I've ever done. So helpful with that. I'm going to bring up your natal chart too, Marie, because I want to look at some of the aspects here too. And happy belated birthday. Sign too. Oh, Leo, right? That's just right. Okay. Yeah, so you also, so if anyone else is a Leo rising, we'll talk a little bit for Marie's reading. So let me write down for beautiful Marie here the timestamp that we are at. So when I send you a recording, we have it here. Okay, so we're at 16:28 for Marie. So Marie, you were asking specifically, what should I be focused on during this new moon? So what's interesting with this is that when we are looking at, yes, reflectors, it's true. When we're looking at your chart specifically as a reflector, reflectors are what's called lunar beings, whereas the rest of us are solar beings. So reflectors have to work. You guys work with the lunation. So for Sony and Marie, true for both of you guys. Now, what happens when we work with the lunations from new moon to new moon or full moon to full moon, that tells us that like maximum, Marie, you only are making like 24 big decisions a year. And we think about the fact that like as humans, we have like 35,000 thoughts a day, I believe, or decisions that we're making. That's a lot, and 24 is not that many in comparison. So those 24 intentional changes that you make, you want to look at the areas of the house. There's 12 slices of the pizza pie that are the 12 houses of our natal chart. And then we have every season, right? Every astrological season, to simplify this a little bit. We have a Scorpio season, we have a new moon in Scorpio. Taurus season, new moon in Taurus. Sagittarius season, new moon in Sagittarius. The full moon, that happens the same month. So every month there's a new moon and a full moon. The full moon is always going to be in the sister sign and the opposite sign. During Scorpio season, the full moon is always going to be in Taurus. Okay, so you want to look at where Taurus is in your chart as a Leo rising. It's going to be in the 10th house, roughly, for your chart specifically. When we're looking at your new moon in Scorpio and where it's affecting you in your chart, this is the 4th house. This is the roots of your chart. Now, as a reflector, to do a little bit of a check-in, and this is good for everybody, but it's just going to impact a reflector even more so, since this is obviously a reflector's reading as Marie. You want to look at where are 6 months from now in the future, when we have the new moon in Taurus or the full moon in Scorpio in May during Taurus season, what has kind of been activated in those areas, a little bit of an as above, so below, as within, hi Shelly, so without situation. And so when we're working with the new moons in Scorpio are about manifesting. What's funny is that like we also are doing a lot of purging with Scorpio energy. Scorpio is a fixed water sign. When it's in the 4th house, it's a lot of overhaul when it comes to probably why every new moon in Scorpio that happens this time of year, you start to get a little bit emo about the family, what your family should be, what it isn't, especially when it comes to your feminine relationships, working with any unmucking or changes, Marie, that has to do with your feminine energy, the way that you were taught to express your femininity, female relationships in your life, what's working, what isn't working, how can you be somebody who's contributing to your feminine relationships in a way that's actually beneficial to you, rather than repeating the old patterns that keep us feeling like we're a little bit stuck. Hi, Orion. And so looking at that aspect, we're talking about Scorpio 4th house energy. So looking into that, right? It's like, what are your roots? Your IC is also right in the same energy, 4th house of your natal chart. Hi, Risa, welcome. So when we're looking at that and the roots of your chart, what needs to be extracted from the root? How are we not putting a band-aid on a bullet hole? How can we go a little bit deeper? How can we manifest more authentic energies when it comes to feminine energy, when it comes to being creative, when it comes to really honestly allowing ourselves to listen to our feminine essence and our physical body for what our feminine needs are. I just filmed this morning in a new format, which you guys are going to like, that are over. Also subscribe to my YT channel, a video that's for the do's and don'ts of the week ahead that'll go out on Sunday. And so one of the things that I was mentioning that's super helpful, Marie, for people that have periods is tapping into the gate 5 energy right now of doing what you need to do for your own routines, rhythms, and rituals that makes you feel good. Because as a reflector who has no definition in your chart, and there'll be a picture of your chart when I send you the recording that you'll see, you have to be really careful because your body will keep score. I always say for every reflector, like, what chronic illness do you have? Or what is something that is a perpetual theme in your body, and where in your body do you feel any kind of consistent aches or pains or tension or knots? Because it is telling you, like, what is a repeated theme of, energetically, what you have to be paying attention to, especially when you have a Virgo Venus, and it's a lot of that rumination, specifically for you, also conjunct your moon. So, what is feeling confusing? Hi, Holly. What is feeling confusing? What is this, like, kind of grounding energy that you feel like could be more of service to you if you allow yourself to be bold about setting boundaries and being okay to inconvenience people who are okay inconveniencing you? Energetically asking you for too many things just because you've always said yes. Hi, Leticia. Hi, Holly. Oh, you're welcome. I'm just doing a reading for beautiful Marie here before I pivot over to Sony, so I'll look at your questions for like 30 seconds in between. But I'm doing readings for like another half hour, so if anyone wants to snag one before we leave each other for the evening. But yeah, like, what just gives you a good sense of security with this new moon about like who and what, whether they're dead or alive, you really have to let go of. Also a good time to ask for help from the other side, from any of your ancestors, when Scorpio's in your 4th house and you're having a little bit of the activation as a Leo rising. Like, where have you felt a little bit stubborn in those areas? Where can you open up a little bit of grace? Where can you allow yourself to mourn the loss of relationships for, acknowledging what they are instead of what you feel like they should be? And that will allow you a lot more joy to be able to move forward, especially before we go into, which is a week today already, Thanksgiving and the holiday season. It's going to be really grounding. Now, I just did this because we just at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this afternoon. It's already posted for you guys that are in Patreon, the New Moon and Scorpio Circle that we did. And I talk at length, yes, about the gate that this new moon in Scorpio is in, and it's in gate 14, which for you specifically, Marie, is adding a little bit of extra activation to your gut, your sacral. So really listening to gut instinct a little bit more, going with your gut, putting your hands on your stomach, practicing, like, if you ask yourself A or B, black or white, yes or no questions. If your body leans forward, it's a yes. If it leans backwards, it's a no. And finding that kind of dance. Also, as I mentioned earlier with cycle syncing, knowing what you need to do in order to know, like, when you're in your follicular phase, biologically your brain function is telling you to focus on these kinds of things. When you're in your menstrual week, and have your period, what that does, so on and so forth, because your brain chemistry as a woman, or anyone who, is having anything to do with hormonal fluctuation, paying attention to what your body is telling you. Because I was saying this to my projector I just read for, we got off a half hour before I came on to have the buffer time between I came live, and essentially you guys are like more spiritual beings, having to remember that you do have a physical body and have to learn more about the physical body and what your body needs to do for fuel. You guys are usually the first people that forget to eat and nourish yourself, and the 4th house is about, like, how do I nourish myself? How do I keep myself fed? Also bleeds a little bit into the 6th house, which will be experiencing a little bit of a activation in 2 months from you, so Capricorn, but really leaning into what that looks like. So paying attention to that for your body, your wellness, your well-being, and your overall brain function. What are some other things I was going to say? Yeah, even if you just do any kind of extra purging, if it's hi Kritika, anything, yeah, forget to eat. Yeah, so don't do that. Keeping like a little, whatever you need to do to like keep little, you know, you don't have to eat a lot of food, especially what's your digestion in human design? Low digestion. So when you can actually relax and have a quiet moment and be able to pivot elsewhere. Oh yeah, Susie. So in the link in my bio, there's a specific link that says TikTok live mini reading sign up. And Marie booked a reading, so she's the one that asked me that question because she paid for me to do a reading for her. So that's why I'm answering there. And then anyone else in between, I'm looking at comments, but I'm just working for her. Yeah. So when we're looking at that specifically, right, low digestion, it's like when you have a quiet moment, you can go and close yourself. Like I literally used to like go and close myself in a closet when I used to work at a spa and be like, I'm gonna take 5 minutes. Like if the phone rings, like I'll be okay because I have to eat something. Like I was really big on that because like my brain will not function if I am not fed, especially like we really need brain fuel and brain power. You would need to eat as much per se as a reflector, but just anything that comes back to the basic somatic understanding of your body and understanding what your body needs, not overeating or overindulging, starting to find a little bit more of that balance is what's also going to give you that stability. Because a lot of what I find with folks who have Scorpio 4th house is that your moms or your parents, whether they meant to or not, didn't teach you how to nourish yourself properly. Definitely not emotionally, especially even when it comes to, if we're not doing the emotional part, the food part probably isn't there, you know. And I think for a lot of us that are around the same age, like in our 30s, a lot of our, you know, my mom would eat like Entenmann's for breakfast and like 3 pretzel nuggets and then like nothing, you know, her big meal at night, and that also like didn't end up working too well in a lot of ways, but paying attention to that too. So manifesting with the new moon in Scorpio, getting rid of anything that feels like it's taking you away from your femininity. Where do you want to manifest more authentic feminine relationships, rooted energy, being rooted in your feminine energy, even if you don't want to call in new friendships right now. It's about what makes you feel grounded so that 6 months from now, when we're going through an activation in your 10th house, you're able to really ground in that energy of being like, how do I want to be seen? Because 6 months ago, I really planted seeds of taking myself, thank you so much, taking myself seriously. So I will leave you with that, Marie. Check your email after like in about an hour or so. And there will be an email there for you. Check spam just in case you don't see it. It'll be the link to this recording so you can watch it back again and again. And now I will pivot over to beautiful Sony, who is also my reflector. Sony, just give me a thumbs up so that I know that you are here and that we can go ahead and get started. And talking about you being another beautiful reflector. And now, okay, perfect. Yeah, of course, absolutely. And we are at the 27-minute mark here. So I was let go from my job during the last eclipse. Yes, and I don't know what to do. What's your job? Should I go back to school or would better own my business? So basically your question, to repeat it back so that you hear on the recording what you were asking specifically, and also how this is going to affect you in the next 6 months, is that should you go back to school or would you be better owning your own business? Now, basically, it's understanding realistically, what do you have more of a bandwidth for? Also asking yourself, the harder layered question is going back to school delaying having to find a job fully? In that way too, right? Where it's like there's a lot of people that will get stuck in school and add on more debt just to be able to learn something new, but like school always isn't the answer right now in order to get out of a level of confusion. And I'm just going to bring up your chart so that we have it here. And so understanding, like when I look at what I actually want, it's deciding what is it that I actually want to fill my time doing, right? And that if you do have a passion to go back to school to learn something new and that you want to be able to move forward in a way that makes more sense for you, why not go back? You know, it's similar to seconding the notion of what Sahara said. It's like, what a beautiful decision that you get to choose between, and really deciding like, okay, what does this look like for me? What is actually going to be helpful, and what do I want to prioritize at this juncture in life? I also think that like for your placement specifically, and having a lot of Scorpio energy in gate 44, it's like looking at where boring for you or calm for you isn't something that your nervous system is used to. So also knowing that like taking a moment to pause and just like to recalibrate doesn't mean that your life is going to feel boring forever. It's just that chaos as your norm, even if it's internal chaos, not explicitly externally in your reality. Also because of like a lot of the trauma of the relationship that we just talked about the last time I read for you. So it's like, where are we running away? Because the traditional ruler of Scorpio is Mars, just like Aries. So there is a lot of Scorpio energy that can be a little bit unsettled, or like, it's my money and I want it now, like that commercial, or like I want everything yesterday. Because also being a reflector, you're picking up on a lot of the energy of impatience or people having a hard time deciding where they're going to go. So just taking a moment to sit with yourself. And now from this new moon to the next new moon that we'll have in Sagittarius for the next 4 weeks, really making the decision of grounding and saying, do I want to go in the direction of learning and like trying out, like finding new schools and applying to different programs and just kind of seeing where it takes me? Because even if you're accepted, it doesn't mean that you have to go. Or is it that like, okay, I can start my own business? But essentially, if you go into either of those decisions thinking that you're outsmarting certain lessons of choosing a hard, or that one is gonna be necessarily easier, it's just a matter of like, it will be easier because there'll be different problems that you'll enjoy solving. So when we're looking at human design, thank you, Carlos. Hi, Amanda. When we're looking at human design, it's like, what are you passionate? Yeah, I think it would have to study either way. Yeah, there you go. And that's perfectly fine, right? So it's like, we know that will be a part of it. And you like to learn, right? Like being able to learn new things and try new things is part of what it means to be a reflector, because you're meant to tinker and explore and try on all these different identities. So deciding like, okay, when I really look at this and I want to be able to express myself, especially having a gate 1 Scorpio Mercury, you're like, what energy or what path makes me feel like I can express myself a little bit more clearly? So when you're looking at it from that lens, it's like, okay, when we're creating a little bit of a formula or a next system that feels really good, do you want to start long term? Like, is the end goal to really work for yourself and being able to create that ecosystem? Or do you want to be able to go back to school so that maybe that'll inform your work, but assuming that like that would be the lens of going and finding a job in that way? Either way, I think that what a lot of this current time is teaching us, because I've had quite a few people that have been let go from their jobs that have been reaching out to me from readings, is that whatever makes you feel the most self-sufficient as possible is what's the most important thing right now. No, it didn't, Kritika. Yeah, if you want to try again, it may like have a temporary hold on your account, but it didn't officially charge you. I have to get the notification from Calendly, and another email didn't come through. So if you want to try again, the 2 people may have also been trying to book at the same time. Yeah, of course, thank you. Hi Brownie, welcome. Oh, I love that. I know that commercial. There you go. Yes, it's so sweet. I have another, I don't know if you're the Brown that I also know from TikTok, but I have another client and friend, I should say, fellow colleague, from TikTok that I've connected with. So in each other's orbit. That's okay. Yes, it's been a little unstable in the connections too, which is Mercury retrograde, makes a lot of sense. But essentially, when we're trying to choose the path between staying in our 9-to-5 job or going down an entrepreneurial venture, it's about choosing the path that feels more exciting to you. And so really deciding, like, when you have this time and this downtime of like being let go from your job and you're like, what's the next path that I want to take? You want to say, like, again, what is my end goal? Just to reiterate that. Is the end goal wanting to be self-employed, or is it the end goal of like wanting to be a part of an ecosystem and making, myself a part of the healthcare system or the fashion industry or whatever industry that feels more exciting to you? And then that is more data to say, okay, for the next 6 months from this new moon in Scorpio to the full moon in Scorpio come May, what am I actually pursuing that is just like statistically going to be the thing that like is more close towards end game? Because again, as a reflector, you only are really making 12 to 24 decisions maximum per year that are like really bigger decisions that you are committing your energy to. So what's the thing? Like, have you consistently come back to entrepreneurship, or have you consistently come back to school? And then that will kind of tell you. And also, like, if you wanted to be an adjunct professor, a little bit of both of those decisions. But like, when you look back in the past, right? Because especially like reflector, you're reflecting back on what you've done and what's been a red thread that's run through everything that you wanted to do. How are we leaning forward in that direction in a way that feels a lot more beneficial? And then as a 4-6 profile, as you get into that ecosystem or making, that industry, Then with your 4 profile line, you start to seek out the opportunities of networking, and that those people will be able to help you move along your path, make decisions, be able to provide resources for you moving forward in a way that it just makes a lot more sense for your for what you need to do as a reflector to feel happy and fulfilled, and a Scorpio reflector at that. A lot of it, because your design sense and your true sense in human design is acceptance and inner vision. So when you sit down and close your eyes, put on the noise canceling headphones, tune out all the noise around you, really look at yourself and all of the layers and the thing that you keep trying to go back to. Like, is it, again, fashion industry and making money online? Like, if you have, being a fashion creator, where's the LTK, the like to know it, where you're linking the clothes, and like maybe you can also, work in that realm of working with a local thrift store and, setting up mannequins at the front. Hi, Nini. Setting up mannequins at the front of the store to do, an outfit for each of the star signs or something like that. That just kind of helps you feel like it's a little bit more fun and revived, and you're diversifying your income. Hi, social. In that sort of way too, which can be really helpful for your placements to not feel as stuck. Hello, beautiful. Not feel as stuck, which is really important. But giving yourself a little bit of the grace of time, and a lot of what I would encourage you to do is take further moments. I love giving a good idea. So my baton to you, my dear. But taking a moment to just pause and like 30 seconds of allowing yourself to not feel like you're falling forward into making a decision, but being like, okay, let me just sit back in my chair and have a little bit more control. Splash some water. Hi, JV. Splash some water on my face to be like, this is what I need to do. Then you're like, okay, actually, like, it only took 30 seconds for me to regain my patience and my peace again, and then move forward. But a lot of what people are having to fight, because again, traditional ruler of Scorpio is Mars, modern day is Pluto. Mars is also ruler of Aries, which is about impatience. My Aries and my Scorpio folks have that in common, of like wanting things to move super quickly, but the longevity and sustainability comes with even those 30-second check-ins of being like, okay, let me check myself before I wreck myself. That's a saying for a reason. And how can I ground and be like, this is what I actually need to do to be able to move forward. So I will leave you with that. Check your email, because I will send you a link with the copy of this recording. And I will pivot over into beautiful Kritika for the next 10 minutes to talk about the new moon. So, oh yeah, I love that. Mando, look up your gene keys of the gates of your incarnation cross. Oh, your eating is nervous. So for you, it's not that you have to be nervous in order to eat, but it is being able to have a little bit of stimulation while you are digesting. I actually have an old Instagram post. I'll share it again. So yeah. Oh yeah, no, it doesn't have to just do with the new moon. It just so happened to be what is going on today. Yes, exactly. Like watching TV, having a little bit of music in the background. But yeah, Kritika, you don't have to, there's nothing wrong with that. Let me see. I'm going to scroll through my little Rolodex here. Oh yeah. So you also with jobs too, right? When, if at all, will I find a job that is long term? So I also believe in free will, and I also know that like your guess is as good as mine. And that's not to say like, great, what did I pay for? Like, thanks for nothing. But more so to really look at the fact that like this industry and the job industry is literally going through unprecedented times, in that we don't know. Companies are going through a lot of shifts right now. And I know this because I have a lot of clients that are also working for larger corporations where they don't even know. And part of the conversations that I was having yesterday with somebody is that there's this whole training program that their company's going through, which is basically just busy work to keep people in a corporate job that basically has become like our schools in a lot of ways, it's like an adult daycare. And hi, Chills. And like having a different way for there to be people that are put in a certain position so that they don't have time to think about other things and what they want to do with themselves in the world. So being the beautiful manifesting generator that you are, Kritika, it's about looking at there's a fork in the road and you have two paths. So when you're going in either direction, right, and you see like, okay, when will I find a long-term job and how do I be consistent on my path, or do I want to go through to an entrepreneurial venture? You clearly are meaning more. Yeah, you clearly are going in more of the direction of when do I want to find a long-term job for like another company? I like corporate life. I have a lot of clients too that are happy in corporate life and they don't need to pursue an entrepreneurial path. They don't want that kind of stress. They want to be, tending to other areas that make them feel more fulfilled. And it's understanding that like, what is the actual business that has a little bit more longevity, that has a little bit more of a higher statistic of hiring people long-term. Yeah, okay, yes, that makes sense. Yes, that adds like a whole nother layer of stress that you don't need. So when you're looking at that, right, it's challenging because of also like the political climate does unfortunately affect these types of things, even though we don't think of. Yeah, this layoff was scary. Yeah, I know. And I think we're silly to like, there's a lot of moving puzzle pieces and a lot of moving parts that the best thing that you can do is just be really discerning in your search. And if it looks like it's heading in that direction and you feel that, are you avoiding Are you avoiding what you feel like is inevitable, right? And do you kind of feel your gut instincts, emotional authority, what your emotions are telling you that it may head back in that direction? And that's not moving backwards. I know it feels like that. I know it feels really unfair and confusing, but it's an opportunity to check in and say like, okay, what is happening here? I also know that a lot of companies, different companies, personally from the clients that I have, are also, I don't know if you would be moving back to India specifically where you were born, or where you would be moving back to, but there are a lot of corporate training positions that are hiring in the tech industry from India, if that's where you would be moving back to. So there's also an opportunity where like, even if you get hired by a company that is in another country and you would be moving elsewhere or back to India specifically, they are hiring folks that live where you were born. So that's also an opportunity. Okay, yeah, I know. And I think that there's also an opportunity to kind of say like, from even looking, I know it sounds kind of funny, but like Reddit is also a huge portal where there are a lot of people that are talking about what are other options. Also, there's an app called Telegram that a lot of people are using. I don't exactly know piecing together what that looks like, but if you typed in like a Telegram app and then like remote work conversations or something along those lines, hi Gilbert, that can be an opportunity for you to kind of be like, okay, what are some alternative ways where there's people that are also going through my situation? So yeah, I know. I mean, for your placements, you have a lot of powerful energy. You do also have the Gate of Extremes, and the Gate 5 Mars transit is actually creating a little bit of a flowing with the rhythms and flowing with the tides. So even though, like, when we're at the water park, and there's like, usually at a water park, there's like these big buckets that we see it filling, and then it drops. We see what's happening. We see the waves that are coming, and it's creating a little bit of definition in your chart where it's giving you a little bit more of that confidence to say like, okay, I know I feel the waves, but I know that I'm going to be okay at the end of the day. Hi, Jasmine. Thank you. And so once you know that you're coming into it from that place, especially for you have calm digestion in human design, so you can digest strategy and new information when you come to a calm, cool, and collected place. That's going to be really important for you to try to eliminate, which I know is hard with your beautiful Virgo qualities, but try to think of it objectively of like, what's a good strategy that I can do that creates a sense of peace to the best of my ability and doing what I can control. You also have a 4 in your profile. So 2 things I would also recommend is like a headhunter or working with a staffing agency in any capacity. Even if the pay is a little bit lower, you are in a place where you can rely on resources like, sometimes we got to humble ourselves. I've had this conversation with a couple people, my family included, my uncle, for the first time in his life during his retirement and his Alzheimer's diagnosis, his daughters are bringing him to a food pantry because that's what he needs to be able to get through this time where they're coming up with a strategy. It's like, just, whatever you need to use to be able to get through this wave. It's like, there's no shame in the game of what you need to do for this to pass as well. And so also relying on help. Hi, Jackie. Thank you. Also relying on help of like, again, taking a pay cut for somebody who it's like, they also get a percentage if you like go to a staffing agency and say like, hey, this is my position. it's in their best interest to find you a job, right? So any staffing agency that you can find, they have ones that are for online jobs, doing a little bit of research to be able to find that long-term position can also be helpful. Sometimes you can even find them through, even though it's technically usually for entrepreneurial pursuits, you can look at something like Upwork or Fiverr, especially for the US. It's not just the US, but also for the US, to be able to look for companies that usually hire one-off positions, but they're like temp positions to hire. That also can work through. Hi, Javier. You can also work through that through a staffing agency where like it's only temporary. You're so organized though. Like all you have to do is get to the interview, and people will love you, and you can secure the job with your energy. Your gate 34 in human design is where our sun gate is shifting into tonight into tomorrow, which is what makes you a lot more magnetic. So the more you can kind of network and within whatever industry you have, and that's the annoying part is like, hi Sham, you have to be like in the pile of AI sorting through the applications. But once you get a real person, makes it so much easier. But I think the smarter strategy, like I think truly like what I would do if I were in your position, like what would be the reality of like what a good manifesting generator could do, I would go to a staffing agency because they're the ones that have the most incentive to say, even if it's for a temporary position, it at least buys you 3 to 4 more months of time where you can come up with a strategy as somebody is also helping you to strategize, because again, it's within their best interest before the holidays into the new year. Hi, Brand, welcome, to be able to get you a position and fill it, because they also want the commission on you as a hot commodity before the holidays too. So that's also not something to be lost on it. But I also like looking into, usually for most folks, like a corporate trainer, they just need somebody to be able to walk through the PowerPoint slides and can communicate effectively. And again, with all your Virgo, your beautiful Leo placements of your moon and your Mercury, your Virgo Venus, like those are really good qualities of like organizational data and presenting to people and like being able to pick things up really quickly and be a fast learner. Those are things that I would focus on too. So yeah, absolutely. It's like they just need to meet you, and to know you is to love you. So I'm not worried about like when that will happen. So yeah, I'm from the US. I'm from New Jersey originally. A couple words that I'll say will give me away. Oh yeah, there you go, Crystal. Yeah, so Crystal is an example of that too. I got my current job in Scottish Parliament through an agency. Agencies recommend. Virgo Sun, I love that. So more with your stars aligning and also where you're at, more affirmation. What are the chances that both of you would be in this live at the same time? So very helpful. And I'm going to pivot over to beautiful Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. Hello again. To be able to lean into her chart now too. And again, I will send you guys the recording. So keep an eye out for your email, to your email, so that you can watch this again and again. So I am not the best person to learn English from. I definitely am not, at least not in this way. I talk way fast, even for my fellow English speakers, but alas, we keep up nonetheless. Okay, so for beautiful Chelsea, so let me write down here. Chelsea, we are at 47, 35. Hi, iRise, I hope you're doing good. Hello. Yeah, critique. You'll be fine, but I think it's just asking for help, where it's like there's no shame in the game of talking to a staffing agency. I would really look into that first thing. Yeah, girl. I know, personal and professional level, Chelsea, my mom and I's relationship is really challenging, and I feel guilty about not wanting to take care of her. Well, isn't it the consequences of their own actions, is what I will say. And once our parents start to get older, and I have been in a position of dealing with aging clients, or parents and clients too, but aging parents, it is really understanding the true toll that it will take on you. Hi, Ro. The true toll that it will take on you. What is the true quality of life that you can give her while also having quality of life for yourself? And understanding the complex emotions that comes with that. I find that in my personal experience, and also with, your placements as well, and where we overlap is that, like, especially for you having a 40-37 channel of community, it really is about like having family that didn't show up for you and let you down in a lot of ways. So it's a conflicting feeling to not, you know, a parent's retirement plan should never be depending on their children to take care of everything for them. Especially, like, I think of my parents' situation and how both of my parents had functional siblings that took care of their parents in a lot of ways, and they had the labor diversified where, like, they don't realize that, like, you know, my brother has a lot of mental illness and deals with that and doesn't deal with that, hi Nobi, in his own way for short context. But for me, I had my dad living with us, and this was happening as I was getting married and trying to plan my elopement. And, you know, we paid for everything ourselves. Didn't have parents that, you know, were able to contribute financially for anything, and are going through a bankruptcy or having to sell their home. And so I had to make the decision, especially because of a lot of other things, and my dad wanted to go back home, to have my dad go back home and live with my mom. And I don't talk to my mom. My mom and I are no contact. So you can see how conveniently that works out. It doesn't. It adds another layer. But I knew that when he was living here that I did everything that I possibly could. And what I was confronted with was understanding is that no matter what you can want. Yes, I get you. And this was this year. So this is not like, oh, this is 5 years ago. Like, this is all that was, I was going through all of this as I was still showing up every single day to do my energies of the day, as I was getting married, as I'm still meeting with people on Patreon 3 times a month, as I'm still trying to build my business and expand on YouTube, as I'm trying to do all these other things, right? So it's like, thank you, Noli. It's like when I say that I see you guys, it's like, because I know in my core that, like, I deserve and deserved better. Thank you. And so for me, it was coming to terms with the fact that, like, I cannot have my dad living with us, thank you, because I'm also the goal is to only be married and going through marriage one time. I don't plan on getting divorced, especially after we just eloped. So, like, the goal is to only have the experience once, and because so much of my youth was also taken away from me because of the lack of boundaries that my parents had set with each other, with my brother, with family, with understanding the way that the real world works, I made a commitment to myself to not lose out on more of my time as an individual who's also responsible for my own actions, being the primary caretaker. And so a lot of that came through personally working through the guilt of, but I am the one that's most capable, but I also, it would come at a huge sacrifice at a time that momentum in my life and my work, which is also so important to me, is building. And this also ties back very crucially to astrology, and what I was starting off with my reading for Marie is that our 10th house, which is all about our career and our public image, is directly opposite our 4th house, which is all about our family. And I need to make, finally, I'll do it tomorrow, a piece of content about this, because there's a clip from the movie The Devil Wears Prada, and Nigel, who's played by Stanley Tucci, turns to Anne Hathaway and he says, "Let me know when your personal life goes up in smoke, because that's when you need a promotion." And there's a reason why in every movie and everything that you've seen, when they're doing so well at work and they're overachievers, that the number one complaint is usually from their family. And like, "We never see you, Mom, you're never home." That's why I don't have kids yet, because I'm not in a position where I know that I can be present for children, and you never know what pregnancy is going to be like, all those sorts of beautiful things. And so I'm talking so much about this just because, like, it is very, yes. And that's where it's like my mom, the first thing she complimented me on was my career. The first thing that she attacks when she doesn't like what I have to say and I set a boundary is my career. "Oh, you're only having this conversation so that you can post another piece of content about it." No, I actually just want to continue a relationship with you, and actually me setting a boundary is trying to repair. But if you're going to attack every part of my character, it's fine. A lot of women that I get also, because this is in my frequency because I had to do it myself, is also allowing my mom to be disappointed in me. And we say that so casually in the 5 seconds that I just said that, but the mindfuck that it puts you through when you are trying to do something, and the one person that teaches you the core, that should teach you the penultimate foundation that you have for how women or other people can shine so brightly, in the world, or teach you like how to support other women. When that relationship is fractured, it's like the ultimate exposure therapy. It's just like making me do a little an activity puzzle. I don't really care about who doesn't like me because my own mom doesn't like who I am. So, this is so annoying. Hold on. There we go. So, at the core of that high kaleidoscope, so I say that because it's so real for so many people. And once you decentralize that and you're like, there's nothing I can do or say that's going to make you happy. And I'm sorry for that, but that then means that the solution to your problem is not actually one that I can provide for you. So, in taking care of, it's like finding out that there are also a lot of other services out there. Like, I don't know if we're talking about physical care for your mom. Yeah. Physical care, like my dad will eventually need physical care because he has a version of Parkinson's, which basically looks like dementia plus ALS. So it's called PSP. Eventually he'll need he'll have no motor function. So if it gets to that point, but yeah, okay, yeah, broken foot and all on. And I think too, when you really think about it, if I had a broken foot, I don't need anyone to come give me a sponge bath in particular. If I'm mobile for everything else outside of a broken foot. So I also would look at, is there also something that's happening in that relationship where she's also missing having a partner, whether, I don't know what their relationship was like, if it was tumultuous or not, if they were together or not when he passed. I'm assuming that they lived together, but is it that she also wants company and what that looks like too. We had a similar situation with my grandmother. So yeah, and I think how far are you? How close are you? And also, what does the realistic amount of help look like for you? For my family, and for my dad, a lot of it was cooking meals. Is it that okay, you have no help? The part that I can alleviate in terms of stress is let me make a bunch of, a lasagna or a bunch of pasta or things that are easy to kind of heat up in the microwave so you don't have to stand and cook for your meals. And I can do that from the comfort of my own home. Drop them off, spend a little bit of time with her if that's within your bandwidth, and talk with her for a little bit, and then continue on for what you need to continue on. Because what also happens is that you're also an adult, that the foundation that you're creating right now in our 20s and 30s is important for what we need to do to make sure that we're not repeating the cycle. This is a quote that I think applies for everyone who's living in the same path, and the 32 of us that are all together at this moment, is that it ran in my family until it ran into me. And I heard that, I don't even know where that was from. It was a quote that was floating around on Instagram that I picked up, and it's so validating, where it's you have to be the one that is it. And it's so fucked, but from personal experience, the best way that I can say that I have felt it is that I've experienced so much pain and sadness with my family, but I know that I can handle it at the end of the day. And it's weird, and it, a lot of people may say that it's oh well, you have a choice, but it's I really am making the intentional choices to not be somebody that that my family had to rely on, in that way, or that my future children or my husband will even have to change my diapers. He would if he had to, but what does that look like? Because emotionally I'm making sure that I'm satisfied and I take care of my body to do so. Yeah, and that's where it's having to be the one that's the curse breaker or the change maker, even though it's not easy. And I think, again, looking at it from the bandwidth of a broken foot is different than a terminal illness where somebody's on hospice. And even then, my grandmother was on hospice for 2 weeks. God bless her, Grandma Rose. She was given 2 hours to 2 weeks. She lived 2 weeks to the day. Or two weeks to the day. And, but she also had somebody else that was helping her for in-home care, home health aides and things along those lines. So, I think the real thing is what you're looking at too, is the fact that it's also dealing with, thank you, Ryan. And I'll look at your comments in between. I just don't want to take myself out of the flow for beautiful Chelsea here, is really looking at, you don't have to drop everything to take the full place of whatever it is that you need to do to help her in that moment and be responsible for also doing the emotional labor of her just needing to admit that she's lonely as well. It's not just, hi Faith, it's not just about their broken foot, it's what the broken foot is bringing up for her, you know. And there's also like the whole thing that we could say about like what a broken foot represents and at an emotional level and all those types of things. But I think, you know, at least from in my what I would do in your position, you know, and even just looking at the transits is just, again, like, you know, that you can bring over some food, give her a little bit of company, you know, and answer a phone call, speak to for 10 to 15 minutes at a time. But especially if you have other siblings or sisters, or, you know, if you have any other siblings that can also go over and help, it's like, again, being realistic. I was just having this conversation with one of my good childhood friends as well, who it's being a New Jerseyan, you know, 95% of our grandparents go down to Florida. And that's where, yeah, just you. Yeah. So that adds another layer too. It's almost like, you know, I feel like with those relationships too, like it's like you just become the default person. Because even though I have a brother, like in a lot of ways, like we're dealing, like we don't communicate, we don't talk. And my brother is a 5-year-old daughter who, like, to me, it's more important that she'll be 6 next month. I prioritize my relationship with her because she's a child and doesn't know any better. We're dealing with all adults, but, you know, I think just allowing your mom to also realize that, like, without you, she also has to feel empowered to make her own decisions. It's like, unfortunately for a lot of us millennials, that's what parenting our parents looks like, because they weren't able to give the right amount of tough love. They've created these energetic or literal monsters of their own making, and it only, again, is outsmarting them of the lessons that they're supposed to learn. I also wonder, Chelsea, if your mom had you around 28 to 30, if she just, which is when a lot of our moms had us, like, you know, like a lot of our people in our lives are giving birth or having babies now around this time, if she also is going through or went through, yeah, you already knew where I was going with it, like her Saturn return. Same for my mom too. My mom had me during her Saturn return, is going through her second one, and I'm a Pisces and her Chiron is in Pisces, so we can see how that is playing out. But yeah, essentially, like, Saturn doesn't listen. Like, Saturn doesn't care if other people come in and try to help you solve the problem. Saturn is the teacher that's in front of the classroom, and the person that is going through their Saturn return is the last person in the room taking the test, and you may be the friend that's trying to come in and help give them the answers to the test, or trying to peek through the glass window in the door of the classroom and give them the answers. Then the teacher is pulling down the shade or slamming the door and is saying, I can't help you. These people aren't going to help you. You have to want to help you, because you are going to reap the rewards of the studying that you did to prepare for this, or listening to the very, like, it was whispers, and now they're becoming yells and larger lessons that you have to learn on your own. Nobody can outsmart you of the lessons that you're supposed to learn as an individual. It just, like, doesn't work. Yeah, her moon and Mars, yes. Oh yeah, so she is you're Leo. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And also, like, Leo moons too. Yeah, conjunct your Chiron. Yeah, because you're Leo, Chiron, gate 31. Leo moons too, unhealed, or, like, not even unhealed, but, like, in an immature sense. It's like, it's all about me all the time. What is my biggest problem? Like, how, you know, what if it's really is, like, it can be a misery loves company placement, not for the weak. It's true. You know, where it's like, because their emotions, and this is coming from Scorpio moon, conjunct Jupiter. And I learned this very young. Also, it's not like anyone gave me a choice anyway, but, like, there was no room for my emotional outbursts, and then I learned to, like, deal with everything on my own. So I was, like, learning to allow, like, what's the spectrum of, like, sharing how I'm feeling without a completely word vomiting all over the entire house that I was in, and having to find that balance. And, you know, Leo moons can be very self-absorbed. Yeah, Faith, I love that. And that's coming from Scorpio moons, who can also be very self-absorbed. Like, and it's because the depth of their feeling is so intense. But again, they're your feelings and you're responsible. It's her mental health and she's responsible. There are a lot of resources now for people to get help, and it becomes more complex, like, when you have somebody that's dealing with that in a different way. You know, and being able to just acknowledge, like, okay, like, I understand that you're going through this, but also, like, we come into this world, theoretically, if we're not born in the womb with other siblings, like, we come into this world alone and we go out of it alone. in a lot of ways with our autonomy. And it's learning that like we each have our own individual things that we have to pay attention to. So it's like basically when you help somebody, you have to understand like when it is your family, are they like, you can't answer the call or take all the tests that you're meant to take and pass them, and also take everybody else's scantron in the classroom that is your family and do their questions too, or take their tests for them too. And hi Katya, I think that's where it's a hard decision to make, because it also is your family and just you and your mom, but ultimately like deciding like how much is too much and giving too much of you. And it's normal to not want to help when people have let you down, but ultimately doing what you need to do to make sure that you're putting your head down at night and making the decisions that you have to make to feel good, even if it's sad. That's the biggest question and answer. And being okay having her throw a conniption fit when she doesn't get her way, because it's just the drama that comes with her placements and where it's conjunct your Chiron, and it's going to poke the wound and make the bruise even more annoying. But like just knowing that that's kind of what it's going to stir up, ironically, is like you just are a little bit more prepared for it, and like you can feel that intensity, but it's like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, and then it's like, okay, I burped and my stomach feels better now. It doesn't have to be like this long flu that feels like it's drawn out, because you're a little bit more emotionally prepared. Yeah, especially Saturn is in Pisces. Hello. Like allowing ourselves to be like, okay, the boundaries don't feel comfortable, but it actually, I just saw, and it's through the lens of biblical cycle. I love Jesus. I think Jesus was an amazing alchemist. Like I talk about that all the time. And how, even for him, he's like, all right, yeah, I gotta go, peace. Like he was flipping tables and getting angry. Thank you, Sarah. I see your message. I'm just pouring into, and I think you can hear from the context of the conversation that this something's a little emotionally heavy. So I ask that you calm your Aries moon that may be feeling a little impatient, just so that I can finish doing the work that needs to be done. And a lesson for all of us to just be respectful of pouring into somebody that is going through something emotional. I know I'm just a floating head on the internet, but we're also real people that need to give space for people to be seen and heard. So I will do so when I find it appropriate. Yeah, the chosen currently. I love that, Chelsea. Yes, and that's where you should really like being able to lean into that too is super important, to know that like he also had boundaries of being like, I will be firm, but I'm fair. I was just firm with Sarah, but I'm fair because I want to make sure that I can pour into, and this isn't a place to demand and make decisions when we're talking about something that's emotionally charged, because this are real people with real lives and real relationships. And I think that the internet has a way of making people forget that, and it's unfortunate because that's how we stay stuck, your mom included in that too. So remembering that like you also have the ability to just figure out like how can you set those boundaries to be of service is ultimately what Saturn and Pisces is teaching us. No, it's okay. Thank you. And you're new here, like you wouldn't know otherwise, but I have to tell my Aries moons really quick. I'm like, there's no sugarcoating about it. You guys are equally as intense. We'll just go for it right back and forth. Thank you, Laura. But yes, Chelsea. So I feel for you. I think, again, just allowing yourself to feel the feels of what you need to feel is important, and, allow yourself to just do what you actually realistically can also within your boundaries, and also ultimately like letting your mom figure it out, and that children are not a backup plan for, like caretakers. Yes, you as parents take care of us, but it's not because like you are just waiting for the reciprocity and think that it's owed, at the same time too. And I think it's a lot of like, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people that are comfortable to be lazy and like to always look for a way to have other people solve their problems without doing the work. So, there's not going to be any more room for that anymore. Yeah, boundaries with the mesh codependent, emotionally mature family is tough, so strong. Yes, absolutely. Because it's just like people need to be told. And unfortunately, actions speak louder than words. And until we set that down, they're not really going to understand. So leaning into that is important. But yeah, let me go back up actually and look through. And Chelsea, I'll send you a copy of this via email. I went over because I knew it was a conversation. Thank you for letting me use your reading as a way to talk to the bigger, wider audience. You're welcome. I see you from a personal and professional, and like just like letting it be, bring it to your awareness that like I was still able to compartmentalize it and be here, because being here to me is important, and it's a value for me to still be here and say like, hey, I am going through this with my family and there's lawyers involved and I'm dealing with this with all my family and my dad is living with me and I was going back home, but like I still deserve to show up for myself and to people who actually give a shit, right? That actually want to change, that actually want to be here and want to listen to, you know, coming up with a solution to the problem, not a problem for every solution. So, you know, like once you, especially with where you're going with work too, it'll be like a lot of what we do is because we didn't grow up with people that wanted to help themselves, but we grow to know that our service energy wants to go somewhere to be of service to people. So I'm going to go and be of service to people who actually want help, not just people who say that they want help, but basically want to have us crawl into their body and make all the hard decisions for them. So important for that. But let me just go back up and see. I know there were a couple, like I Rise, and a couple of you that had some sweet messages too. I'm 31. And thank you, Noli, like a boss. Thank you. Yeah, well, this retrograde has been heavy on family. It really has. Origin family, like, oh my God. Hi, Orlando. Thank you. Yeah, it ran in my family. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, I've had to grieve that they won't see me let go. Brutal. Yes, absolutely. It's a lot of what I feel like Pluto and Scorpio generation too. A lot of that for sure. It's not easy, it's messy, but my goodness, it's beautiful. On the other side, it's true. And I think too that like there's a lot of women that also like have been coming through, you know, in that 31. Yes, there you go. Coming through in that way where it's a hi Ashanti, how are you? Nice to see you. Try to when you have a loss or you have family that you have to reprioritize in some way, right? And like your relationship with your mom as a woman being such an important one, you know, if she's absent for whatever reason due to death or, you know, mental illness or just like not giving you what you need, there are people that have, if they haven't dealt with that and grieving the loss of their mom, or they haven't decentralized their mom, or they don't have enough healthy distance and boundaries with their mom, they will try to find another way to fill that hole of grief with other female friendships and other relationships. And so when they're in that place, you know, they will try to, and don't even realize they're doing it consciously, fill that hole with other people. And how many people can I talk to, and how can I connect with other people? Because sitting with that grief and processing it is emotionally challenging, when there's also other things that we have to focus on in adults. But like the more that people don't sit and focus on tending to that grief, they try to fill that hole with other garbage that just messes up the hole even more, and then it hemorrhages out onto other people. So my mom not being there for me is not anyone else's responsibility. I certainly am very grateful where I have a lot of people in my life that have lightened the load of that process and that grief, that burden that it feels like grief has put on me. But like I also don't expect it from other people to work with those emotions that ultimately I need to work through. So we see that a lot, you know, in a lot of relationships. And it doesn't even just have to be your mom, but like also other formative relationships in your life, and having that too. I feel like there's probably a lot that will play into that for you in the work that you do too. Irise says, so if our planets are retrograde in our birth chart, do we go off of the generational placement or personal? Generational. If our planets are retrograde in our birth chart, do we go off the generational placement or personal? So I'm going to try to dissect your question. So there's two types of, there's personal and generational placements, right? So personal placements are from our sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, right? And then we have Jupiter onward that are generational placements, which means that more people that are born in the same year of us, because the transits are slower, tend to have that placement. Let me see. Yeah, like Pluto is in Scorpio. Mine is retrograde in Libra. So you're going to look at the actual planet. Like if Mercury is retrograde, and your Mercury is naturally retrograde, like mine is, I find that like I'm still affected by Mercury retrograde. It doesn't feel as intense because like I've always had to, I talk fast, all of those kinds of things. But if your Pluto is retrograde in Libra, I would look at instead how other Libra transits are affecting your Libra Pluto, rather than looking at how Pluto is affecting your Pluto in Libra. Does that I think that answers your question if I'm understanding it correctly. Like you wouldn't look at, like if Mercury is retrograde, you wouldn't look at it that way. It's how the same zodiac sign is going to affect your same zodiac sign. You have a Libra stellium. So I would look more so back at like when we had like Libra Venus and all of the Libra planets, when Mercury is in Libra, the sun is in Libra season, that's when I would look at your Pluto in Libra being affected more. And then how your fellow Libra Pluto counterparts are going to be affected too. Not so much like how Pluto and Scorpio, you know? Yeah. Yeah, 5 placements in Capricorn. Yeah, girl, I know it was not easy for you. That's for sure. Oh yeah, you said, yeah, lost both grandparents and grandparents. Loss is very difficult, sending love with any loss or loss. No, I feel that. I'm sorry you went through that. I know a lot of people. Yeah. Just like Capricorn too. Are your what was your rising, Sarah? Sorry, let me go back to. Oh, Virgo. Yeah, Virgo rising. Yes, that tracks so much. Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like you're with your 5-1 as well, like being a 5-1 in human design, it's like usually it is like you don't have too much of an interest in talking about yourself, but because you've had a lot of loss, it's also like you need people to like validate, like you're like, okay, but like if the closest relationships to me, I don't have those people to talk to, it's like you can tell when somebody, given how they use Facebook historically, I had somebody who was actually one of my artists that I managed when I was doing it back in my early 20s, excuse me. Oh, I like feel. And she wrote about like everything she was feeling and sensing all the time on Facebook, and there would be so many people that would be like, oh my God, she's so annoying. And I was like, both of her parents died. She's an only child. Like she has gone through so much even outside of those situations that it's like, that is not, like that's her way of processing. If you don't like it, then unfriend her, you know? And like she can keep her circle small for people that are actually like able to support her in that direction. And so we see that a lot with like, especially because you're ruled by Mercury, Sarah. It's like, what is your Mercury sign? Do you know off the top of your head? But like until you process that and like find ways to be heard, like it's like getting the appreciation for people hearing your voice in the way that you think is also going to be important. But it's always, I always say this, the human design experiment, it's the right idea, usually the wrong execution, and then through the trial and error process of life, which we all go through, then we find the right way to feel like, okay, with these people, it's okay, I want these people to see me. Yes, it's so true. Like if you're talking about like, if there's somebody that, and I know this can also be an ADHD thing, but like if there's somebody that is like my husband, for example, is watching and he's catching up on anime right now. And, you know, I sat with him for 20 minutes and had a snack in between hopping down, like coming down on live. But like, I have no like capacity for like anime and getting into that world. But like, I will entertain it for him for a little while. But I'm also like not the type of person that can sit there for 2 hours and like listen to the ins and outs of it. And like, we don't expect that from each other. So it's like, it's nice that he can be heard in a way from me as his wife, but also he has his friends that are into anime that will watch it and then talk about it instead. So, oh, Mercury in Capricorn too. Okay, yeah, yeah, I mean, Capricorn 5th house, like, or 4th house too. Like, so stoic. Like, probably people, like, I wouldn't be surprised people giving you the silent treatment, which is like, talk about wounding for a Virgo rising. Like, yeah. I always say that, like, it's so funny, and I said this to a couple placements, also with some Sag Mercuries, or Gate 26 Sag Mercuries. They're like the kid that learned to be the toddler that like energetically you like stand in front of your parent while they're cooking dinner, like cooking on the stove, because it's like I learned to get attention in any way possible, because like it just makes so much sense like with how we met and like having grace for it, because it's like we all learn our coping skills to survive as humans in the best way possible, and like learning to come back to like what is the right way is like the like any press is good press. But what we want to pivot to, and especially for me, I'm like, how do we get you, like, I know what you need, right? I have a gate 19 Aquarius, which is all about understanding what people want. But just because we sense what people want doesn't mean that we need to be the one that gives it to them, but rather like finding a way to truly give them their needs and making sure their needs are met. And so, yeah, it's like that. Yes, it's such too. There you go. So it's like, okay, this is the wounding, but who are the right people, and finding where to go in the right way is what's important. But you know, a lot of people are like funky, especially in the internet, like not knowing like where to send people for the right resources. And I'm like, Ro was on the live where I was like, my friend and client Lucy does like EFT. Here's her YouTube channel. You know, like those kinds of things where I'm like, my friend that's a social worker and as a Sagittarius rising, Aries sun, is a social worker, and she calls herself a resource redistributor. And I adopted that term because I feel like that, but with like my other spiritual practitioners, or, you know, being able to know like a high tide raises all boats, and each of us are a drop in the ocean to help rise that boat that is the individual. You know, and having that too. Yeah. No joke. Someone who's been giving me the silent treatment just asked to talk. Oh my God. Yeah. They're like, actually, Mercury retrograde, I want to go back and communicate with you, which is hard. It's hard. Like that. It's a weird time. Yeah. It's helpful. Those little that's very, Mercury and Aquarius, retrograde, to have the little one-liners too. Those are very, I was talking about this with my other friend, an astrologer, very like Virgo dad, Taurus dad energy, you know, and the one-liners are ways that we can just kind of like creatively ground ourselves, in whatever it is that we can do to like remember in a quick moment. Especially as an Aries moon, it's like you like have a desire to get your needs met, and it's making sure of like understanding like where is the proper healthy way to be able to have people pour into you. It's not that you're undeserving of it at all. The way that you were raised probably led you to believe that, but it's like, how do you kind of ground and saying like, ooh, like I also don't want to rush into a relationship with the wrong person, and they may have satisfied one craving in any way you want to interpret that, but you know, not all of what is actually sustainable too. Yeah, I rise. I love that. I've been sustaining on business and enforcing boundaries. I love that. Yeah, as you need to, you know, like super, super helpful. Like really grounding in that too. Pisces, Saturn and Pisces. Like there's no way. I'm the same way too. I'm like, you know, I say it's strong, but I'm not a mean mom. But people also, ironically, like with my placements and having the moon in the 10th, it's like another version of Cancer rising, where it's like people also like when I'm mean mommy, because like they know I'm also not mean to be cruel. I'm like, hey, I have to be bad cop because like you're gonna fall off and break your ankles if you don't get down off the countertop. And then finding that balance is important. Oh yeah, Crystal, would love to hear about artist management stuff you did in NY if you wanted to. So beautiful. Thank you. So I went to school for art history in New York. I did community college first, and then I transferred to go to a school up in the Bronx called Fordham. And so was back and forth between Manhattan. I graduated and I was like, I don't want to be in a library anymore. The pathway for an art historian, and if you want to be a curator, which I love the idea of doing, was like you have to go to do your master's and usually a doctorate. And I just didn't want to be in school for that long. And like talking to people, like, and I do love obviously to be of service to people. So I got a job. My first gig was at a place called Make Music New York, which is a nonprofit organization that hosts over 1,000 concerts throughout all 5 boroughs of New York City on the summer solstice. So it's so funny because I think about, like, of course I was already doing summer solstice like routine and ritual before I even really cognitively knew anything about it spiritually or like with the zodiac or astrology. And then art history teaches you all about iconography, which is also very helpful to what I do now. So gate 5 means this. If you see flowers on a dress or a seashell, it actually means this. And so those being the red thread, you know, experiences that I ran through my life to understand. Yeah, Chelsea, Aries moon, yes. And so, yeah, I ended up working. So when I was in college as well, I was a videographer for a radio station. So I would film these artists that were up and coming. And just in like the city, like you have proximity to a lot of like interesting people. Like, a lot of the artists weren't fully like mainstream, and even now, some of the bigger names that I worked with when they were first starting out was Brandi Carlile, Gary Clark Jr. One of my favorites is Unknown Mortal Orchestra, for those of you who are into kind of like alternative music. Sean Colvin, I mean, that's kind of going back a little bit. Jose Gonzalez. If you actually look up my name on YouTube and type in WFUV, there's a playlist of all the people that I would edit the music videos for them and do things like that when they were in the studio. Yeah, so I love him. So that was with like my like celebrities, if you will, also like the underdog of the celebrity industry. I worked a lot out of Electric Lady Studios. Ben Folds, who is also the Chat Roulette piano guy, if you remember, the guy that would play the piano in Chat Roulette. He is also like actually a musician, which a lot of people don't know for my millennials, but that was like, it feels like such a past life. But I did that, and then as I grew out of that and left school and was kind of like evolving into other things, I started working with independent artists who were like, had a little bit of a traction going, and then I would use their human design to write their exhibition statements and their biographies in their voice, because I was like, I can use this as, hi Leisha, I can use this as a tool to write about in their voice and help them without having to feel like I'm writing from my interpretation of who I think that of what I think they're trying to say, but actually in their vocabulary and understanding, hi beautiful, and understanding what they're actually saying. So leaning into that was really helpful. And then I was like, wait, they actually are now booking me for human design readings instead of wanting to stay in my artist management stuff. And the last gig that I had was, I had a friend that opened up a gallery / coffee shop on 19th Street and 10th Avenue right off the High Line. And it was cool, but I was like, I'm not fulfilled by the names of the people that I'm rubbing shoulders with. And it doesn't, having to buy into doing, like there was like a guy that had moved into and was creating a pop-up gallery next door, and he had a really popular gallery downtown, and I won't name names, but he was like alluding to doing a lot of things that you see in the media right now with the owner of and my friend who I'm not friends with anymore for a couple different reasons, but like it was like a lot of what you see about the industry is not as far removed from reality as you would think. So I was like, this is getting dark, a little too close to home. I'm also feeling burnt out. I'm not as excited. Yeah, I'm gonna go. And like that was naturally when I was able to pivot into what I'm doing now. And yeah, here I am 5 years, almost 5 years later, 4.5 years later. So it's crazy. And like I did a little bit of back and forth during COVID and after that. And it's like, you know, in true manifesting generator fashion, that's the general gist, a lot of lore in between. But yeah, so that it was interesting. But I was like, they're still good there. But it's like, I feel like there's in the industry, going the independent route for 2025 is I would build my own community of strength in numbers in smaller locations and work that ecosystem, and then do like what Russ did, and you know, so you don't have to sign to a label. And you know, as that's working its shit out, I think we will have authentic labels in the future, but as it exists right now, I wouldn't encourage it per se. Oh, seashells. I actually don't remember what seashells mean specifically, but you will have to look it up. If I can find it before you and I have a moment to remember to do that, I rise, I'll look it up, but I probably, renewal of some capacity too. Obviously some ocean related, but yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head. If you asked me what Pisces meant, I remember, but yeah, and Saturn Pisces in your 7th house, yeah. Your relationships won't feel fulfilling until you're forced to set a boundary. And usually people don't listen unless you yell at first. And then after the third person you're yelling at, you find a better way to communicate. My boyfriend is a 1/4 projector, me a 5/1. So it's not a matter of compatibility, Sarah, as in terms of like, do these energy types work well together? It's like knowing that like as a projector, your boyfriend is going to have less energy than you, and he just has to learn to work more efficiently and be able to find that balance of like don't enable him by financially supporting him unless he's actively trying to find a system that works well for him. because projector men also can feel a lack. It's like a weird catch-22 where they don't want you to feel sorry for them outwardly, but they want you to take care of their problems, even though they're unwilling to figure out the system that they should be in, to only like to work smarter, not harder. But like, you know, especially in a heteronormative dynamic too, I would say, like, generally speaking, anyone who's in a more masculine, like I have a lot of masculine energy, so like I want to work, like there are certain things that like I know that like I want to do, but like, you know, finding out that balance in your relationship of masculine and feminine projector generator is also helpful. As a 1/4 though, it's like very studious, very scholarly, can help a lot of people. Networking is a really big thing for him. So like making sure that he is efficient about where he's networking and what he wants to do for work, what system he wants to master is also going to be important. Wow, so by biographies, do you mean like game planning for them? So a biography is like when I'm telling an artist's story. So I would be like, Christina Kelly is an artist from Scotland that had studied, that is classically trained in Juilliard in New York City. A biography is like who you are and kind of like the lens through which people can understand your artistic practice. So like the cultural lens, like what your background is, what gives you a little bit of like street cred. My friend Tim, who is one of my cancer friends that has been on here a couple times, I got dinner with him yesterday. He came up to visit me and he introduced me to Yeba, who I didn't know. And a lot of her musical biography is like, she was from, I think, Arkansas or like the Midwest, and was like born and raised in the church, and kind of had like a ironic, like not come to Jesus, but like a crises moment. And then there was this song that she sang. There was a big thing when I was in the 2014, like when I was in college, there was this thing called So Far Sounds that was really big at the time. And she sang a song called My Mind at a So Far Sounds concert. They were like pop-up concerts, happened a lot in Brooklyn, where you would basically be like, hey, my apartment building wants to be a venue, and people would go and sing their songs. And a lot of people were getting discovered in the mid 2000s in that way, 2010s. And she was one of those artists. So it's like writing about that story. And then the series or exhibition statement from a musical perspective would be like, what is your album about? Or what's the concept of your album or this series? So a biography, I would write more so for like, what's the cultural context of who you are as an individual, and how does that inform the type of work that you do as a musician or as a fine artist? So it's a lot of fun. I still like, I mean, I have like Rachel, who's one of my fine artists, like there's still overlap where I get a lot of creative people. But yeah, I know, I rise. There's always that. Yes, the third time. There you go. I love that. Yes, the True Builder community. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's so, hi, Hav. Yes, music. Oh my gosh. Yes. So really for him, like, if he could find smaller, like groups of 3, or like people within the industry that are kind of already like moving and shaking in his realm, that would be helpful for him too. Or like, and he probably like whatever, there's always a strength that a musician has. Is songwriting their strength? Is their voice their strength? I know that sounds ironic, but like Halsey isn't that great of a vocalist, but she's good at creating concepts and she's a good performer. So if you have one of those dials as a musician or an artist, right, like a performing artist that's the dial is turned up a little bit more, you can find the people that can kind of come in and build the other parts around you. So like Ariana Grande is a good vocalist. Her voice is very strong. She's willing to do the work, to put in work for her voice. I don't think that Ariana Grande is probably also a songwriter. She may write, you know, that's a lack of me knowing her full process, but place it. Yeah, oh, I love that. Yes, absolutely. So for him, like songwriting is his strength, and then he can decide, like also as a projector, monetizing your intellectual property, if he also wants to get paid to write lyrics for other people. So, oh yeah, there we go. So far, yes. It's so funny. It's like once we get, it's like when you want a red car and you see a red car everywhere, I feel like that with So Far Sounds. Like now that I'm out of the industry in that capacity, I'm like, I kind of forgot about it. Yeah. Yeah, I love TikTok talking to you in America. I'm here. I know. Isn't it? Hi, Elias. Welcome. It's so funny, like the way that the world works like that, the internet. But it's beautiful. And I'm thankful for that because I do have a lot of folks that are in different corners of the world. That's why I started posting, because I was like hesitant to, because I'm a sacral authority. So like I'm really big on like we know when we ground in what we have to know. Oh, there you go. That's so funny. Yeah, Russ is a fellow New Jerseyan, so gotta love him. We almost made our wedding song, When I'm With You by Russ, because we were like, we don't want to dance for that long in front of our family. But we went against it. But yeah, so leaning into that. But yeah, that's so funny. I love that. But I'm going to head out for the evening so I can rest and relax and recoup a little bit before I go into a busy Friday and a weekend. I cannot believe that it's already the weekend. For anyone, this conversation and my lives are always cross-posted to YouTube. So thank you to those of you who tune into YouTube. The main chat is over on TikTok. And then those of you that got a reading with me tonight. So Marie, Sony, Kritika, and Chelsea, thank you guys for being here and helping me help you and support you. It was nice to meet all of you.